Good
Hello.
evening, welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name's Barry,
And I'm Jay.
and together we are Mitosu Crafts.
Welcome to our channel. So this evening you have both of us creating a fun fold card. I don't actually know what it's called. It looks like a transformer.
I think I've done it before. It looks like a transformer.
Decepticon.
But this one's better.
Which we received from a swap by the lovely Danielle, was it?
Danielle Aaron.
Yes. So yes, if you are watching the replay, do fast forward to the demonstration if you prefer. We'll say hello to those of you who joined us live. Thank you so much. So we have got Judy French, hello, number 1 at the moment. Lisa Allport, Lisa's Love, good evening. We also have Jackie Elliott, Darla, hello. Tilly Kraus by Karen, William, hiya. We have got Jian, hello. And Kisha, hiya. Lani. So funny. Susan, Bling Crafter, Pat, and Sandra. And hello to Facebook if you are watching from Facebook.
Yes.
So yes.
Lovely. All right, so I think we'll just crack on straight away. I'm just looking at it. Does the camera look wonky? It just
Wonky.
Just looks a little bit wonk-donk.
Because you're taller.
There we go. Anyway, let's go camera down. And that one doesn't look wonky. Well, it does now. There we go. So let's crack on with tonight's demonstration. Do remember you can purchase anything from us via our online shop. So link to our online shop is on the screen right now. mitosucrafts.com/shop. And you can order your Stampin' Up craft supplies from us right there. So if you live in the UK, France, Germany, Netherlands, Austria, Belgium or Ireland, you can use that link on the screen. But yeah, so the stamp set or the papers which we're going to be using is from this suite. And the papers which we're going to be using is the Floral Impressions Designer Series paper, and Jay is going to be using the Impressions of Bloom stamp set and dies to finish this off for us. So you've got a double whammy tonight. You've got both of us doing this, but I'm going to do the fun fold, and I'm going to let Jay do the main part of the decoration. So yes, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Berry Burst cardstock. I will be working in inches throughout this entire demonstration, and you will need yourself a piece of cardstock measuring 10 by 7 inches. Okay, so I'm going to cut it at the 7 inches first. There, and then keep this because we're going to use this as an offcut later on. And then I'm going to take it to 10 right here and keep that because we're going to be using parts of that as well. So that's what we've got. Then you want to then just go ahead whilst we've got it and score it in the center at 5 inches. Okay, so you've pretty much got yourself a 7 by 5 piece of cardstock. So next we need to take... Oh, did I leave the pencil on the table over there, Jay? Could you pass me the pencil, please? So first things first is we need to just mark a few things off right here. So we want to turn this round and we want to mark at 5 inches. So just now decide what is going to be your bottom part. So the bottom is going to be this side here. Doesn't matter at the moment what way, because as long as you measure it the same side the other side. I'm just going to pop a pencil mark at 5 inches there. I'm going to turn it round and then I'm going to pop a pencil mark at 5 inches on the edge on that one there. I'm then going to use my ruler to connect these two, and what I want to do is I want to pop a mark at 2.5 inches in, and because I'm using the mark this side and this side here, I'm getting a straight edge. So I'm going to pop it at 2.5, and you want to go 2.5 inches from this side here, which is basically marking this at 7.5 inches on this side here. Okay, so you've gone up from the bottom 5 inches on both sides. Okay, and then we've then gone in 2.5 inches from that 5-inch mark and 2.5 inches from that 5-inch mark on that side there. Then we want to then take our trimmer, pop it in at the 5 inches, so your mark is on the cut line, and then you want to then cut down 2.5 inches basically to that mark. Okay, so we're going to do that, and we're going to cut down 2.5. I've just gone slightly over to 2.5, but that's not, I'm not too worried about that. And I'm going to do the same this side here, and I'm going to go up 2.5 to that mark. So popping that mark on there just gives you a little bit of a guide as to where you should stop, and if you've gone too far over. Okay, and then we're going to then pop it back in the trimmer, and we're going to line it up at the 2.5 inch mark, and we're going to then cut down to that thing there, and then slide that part out. Do exactly the same on the opposite side, but I'm going to just rotate it round so I'm using the same side of the trimmer every single time, lining it up at 2.5 inches, and then we just cut until that comes away. So you've ended up with something which looks like this. Then what we want to do is we then want to then cut from this corner to the score line. So easy enough on this particular one there, just pop it in your trimmer, line the cut channel up with the score line over here, like so, and then just cut that. And then we're going to do that on the opposite side there as well, like that. Now you may have just noticed that I started cutting from the middle on that particular one. The reason I like to sometimes start in the middle when I've got a point, when I've got a very pointy edge, is that sometimes if you pull the blade down onto a point, you can sometimes buckle that. You can damage the point. So with our trimmer, you can pop it in the middle, and then you can then just go up and then back down again. Just make sure you get a nice sharp blade when you're doing it. So that there is now what you are left with. So what we want to do next is we want to score from this corner to the score line, and from that corner to the score line on both sides. So from here to here, here to here, here to here, and here to here. Okay. So pop it in, make sure you've got your cutting blade out the way, line up the corner part up here. My score line is on that, and just make sure that I just tweak it as you go. And then I'm starting off on this one because I haven't got so much of a point here, whereas if I had a point at the end there I could damage that. And then same thing on this particular one, line that up, just tweak it accordingly. Like that, and then do the same on the opposite side. So I've got that one there. Now it is easier if you can stand up, I think, in doing this and get over the top of it. It's a little bit easier to do it. I'm sat down doing it, so hopefully I think I've got it all lined up correctly. It looks fine. So there we have it. So you've now got your piece here. From that angle that a little bit, you can potentially see all the score lines in there. A bit sharp better on that side there. Okay. I think you can kind of see it there. That's it. So that's what we have got. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to fold this. So we're going to fold this one in like this, and I'm going to grab my bone folder. And then we're going to then do, so we're doing a mountain, then we're going to do a valley, and then we're going to then do your mountain as if it's you're folding the card in half. Okay, so you've got it like that. So mountain, valley, mountain, and then you're going to go over here, and then you just do a mountain on the outside like you have done initially. and then do yourself a valley like that. Okay, and then that should then all kind of go together as close as you can. It's going to be slightly off, but once it's up and it's standing, it's not an issue. So I'm just going to, whilst it's flat, I'm just going to then just use my bone folder just to crease all of those lines nicely. Like that. Okay, so that there is how the card is going to stand up. Okay, but we're just going to add an addition of a band at the back, because at the moment, when I've made this card before, that kind of happens. It kind of just doesn't stand up nicely. So with the addition of an extra part. So what we're going to do is we want to have two pieces. So we're using our scrap part now. Two pieces measuring 1 inch. So we're just going to take off an inch from that long part which we had. And we're still going to save this bit here because we will be using this part again in a bit. And then we will then cut this off at 4 inches. So it's basically 1 by 4, and you'll need 2 of those. Okay, save that part because we can potentially use that one in a moment. And then what we want to do is we then want to then score this at 3/8 of an inch. And on both of those. There we have it. Fold and just burnish those pieces. Grab ourselves some glue. Judy, yes, it is a bit like making a paper plane. And we're going to pop some glue on this little tab right here. Don't need too much. And then we're going to then stick one down on the back side edge. Just make sure it's all flat. And as close as to the edge as you can get it. Just butt it up against the end, the bottom part down there. And then the same for the other piece. Like that. And then just stick that in. Okay. So let's just let those stick for a moment. Then with this piece which we've got right here, that very tiny strip which we had an offcut, we just want to take this to around about 2 3/4, I'll just say I'm going to go 2.5 inches. So I'm just going to literally just cut that to 2.5 inches. And then we're going to then take this and then wrap it round. Now you want to give it a little bit of flexibility. You don't want it to be too tight. So wrap it and then kind of just release it a little bit, just so you've got a little bit of flexibility. Grab yourself some glue. Pop a little bit of glue on that tab. There. And then just stick and hold. And then that there, just double check before it sticks too much, goes in and is tight enough and is going to hold that in place. And that there has now basically given you the stability for the card for it to now actually stand up without falling down on itself, because it's holding these sides up quite nicely. That's quite tight for me on that one, but if you want to, on the card which I received, just a gem on the back here to stop it from, well, we will pop a gem on there actually to stop that little band just falling off, but I'll do that one once that's all been decorated. Just need to just manipulate it, and that there is the fun fold. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to decorate this part right now. And this part is actually probably the more complicated part because it's a designer series paper. One more thing which I've got to do for the card itself to attach the front part on is I need to take, again, some of my offcuts here, and I want this to be 3 inches by 3/4 of an inch. Okay. And then we want to score it at 1/2 inch and 1 inch on both sides. 1/2 and 1. This here is going to make the mechanism. So we need to in like that and then like that. So you're kind of making, I call it a frog fold. I don't know why, it just reminds me of a frog's legs. Okay, I'm sure there's a real technical term for it, not a frog fold, but I like frog fold. So you've got that, and what that's going to do is that will eventually sit on like this, creating something for your topper to go on, but then also allowing the topper to fold flat in the envelope. Okay, but we don't want to stick that on yet because we want to pop the designer series paper on these panels first, and then we'll stick that one on afterwards. But you've got your frog fold ready. So pop that to one side, pop your frog to one side, and then let's just grab our designer series paper. So trimmer in. Let's just see what paper I'm going to be using. Am I alright open up the other packet, Jay? Or is there another one open, do you know? No, okay. So, this paper is absolutely gorgeous. So let's just show you this first. So this is our second pack we're now going into. We like this one a lot, so we've got 2 of these packs. So we've got some lovely, let's show you this side first, because these are nice, but the other side's wow. Okay, so we've got some lovely greens going on here. Your, kind of like your petal pinks, I think it is, and strawberry slush. You've got some more garden green. Can't read at the moment, it's too small for me. Garden greens. Some pool parties. Okay, and some fresh freesia. And some darling duckling. So I would say with this you want to try and pick a pattern which isn't too directional, because it becomes complicated if you use something which is directional. And it matters that it's directional. So like I probably wouldn't be using this piece of paper because this one is directional, as this one is really, really lovely. This ombre effect is just so stunning. Probably wouldn't use this paper either because it's directional going on here, but again, really, really pretty for this one. And the same as I probably wouldn't use that one for this particular fold because it's directional going up. Okay, but this one. Definitely, really like this piece of paper. I used this one for a box of mine for one of our retreats recently, and really liked that one. So that one's that one. You've got this one right here, really pretty. And the most favourite one I think is for everyone is this one right here. Just absolutely love the colours on this, the blues, the purples, the greens. Really nice. And that's what I'm going to be using tonight as well, along with the back side of that particular one right here. Okay, so that was that one there, and the back side of that one for a little bit. Now I've already got those parts pre-cut, but I will explain it to you as I'm doing it. But the first one I haven't got pre-cut, so I will just explain this one. So this one's nice and simple. You need to give yourself a 4" by 4" square. By 4", and then we just want to cut this in diagonal directly down the middle down there. So that one there, again, I'm going to bring my blade into the middle and I'll start cutting like that. And then I've got that one there. So this doesn't matter if this is directional because I can split it and it's going to go like this. So that there is going to go, so if we hold this out, it's going to go one on there and one on that like this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick that one down right now. So your diagonals may be off a little bit. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Obviously diagonals are really difficult, I think, to work with this, but as long as they don't look majorly off, you'll be fine. But if it's, just try and just wiggle it around with the ink with your glue so that it looks correct. So this one is the easiest one for the designer series paper. It's the next two, or the next 4 should I say, which are a little bit more complicated because you need to think of how you're cutting it. Okay, so that's that part done. Okay, let's pop that to one side, put my lid on with glue, and then what we're going to do is where did I pop it?
Right.
Yeah, the scrap bit of paper, that's it. I'm going to bring in some retired designer series paper because I've already got my parts cut for the next piece. So I'm just going to bring in some retired paper just to show you how to cut this. Okay, so what we want on these ones is, so it's a 4 on the first part there, it's a 4.5 by 4.5, just cut directly down. What we want to do first is we're going to work on this one right here, these two center parts. So we need a piece here which is measuring 2 pieces, which is measuring 6 by 2. Now I've taken a 6 by 6 designer series paper pack, so I've already got my 6, so I just need to cut off some strips here at 2. Now if you're making multiples of this, this is really good because you've already got the first one of a second card. So if you're doing 3 cards, then you'd have another 2 cards, so you can get 3 cards out of 2 pieces of paper. So it's a good one to do for multiples. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our ruler and we're going to grab our pencil again. So this is why we need to be careful with this one, because as we're doing this we need to make sure that we're marking on the opposite sides of what we're doing, because we need to pop a mark on this side for this point, but if we do the mark on this side for that point there, we're going to end up having to turn the paper over for it to work. So you just need to make sure that when you're doing it, you do a point, well, the one you decide to do the point on this side, you make sure that the point is on this side for here, so we haven't got to rotate. Okay, so just work methodically, kind of have them out like this. I'm going to turn that round, and what we want to do is we want to pop a mark at, can't read my own writing, 1 5/8 of an inch. So I'm going to just grab my ruler, I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll pop a pencil mark down there like that. So that's for my right hand side. So on this one I need it to be for my left hand side, so it needs to be on this one right here, but I'm aware of that just so I know, and I'm going to be working from this side here, so 1 5/8, or if you want to keep it as is, just keep your trimmer. So you can see on the first one I worked on 1 5/8 there, and then I need to work on 1 5/8 here, so you can do it like that. and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then pop your mark like that. Or you can know that, turn it around, but make sure you're working on this side here if you find it easier to hold onto the paper so it doesn't, things don't move. But again, just pay attention to that. So good. Bring your trimmer back in, and you're going to cut from that pencil mark to the corner. Like that, and that pencil mark to that corner over there. Like that. Same thing on this one. Do pencil mark to that one, and then pencil mark corner to corner. So then if you've done that correctly, you should end up with 2 pieces which will go in. So you kind of made a bit of a kite, really. Will go in like that. So I've already gone ahead and I've gone and got those cut correctly in this paper right here. So they're going to go on like so. So who else loves this paper, especially this pattern? Be careful with your glue to make sure you don't have too much seeping out the edges. Less is more, I would say. So at this point, I suppose technically, if you wanted to, if you didn't want to do these pieces right here, you could leave those blank, and because you've got your card, which is going to go like that. So you could, these ones here could be left blank if you want to. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to decorate these with the blue pieces. So again, I'm going to bring over my designer series paper right here, and I'm going to need a piece here which is measuring 6 by 1 3/8 of an inch. So I need 2 of those, so 6 by 1 3/8, and we'll do that twice. Again, I'm doing this on retired paper, so older paper, so you can. Because I've already got it pre-cut, and I would recommend, if you're making this, do it on retired paper anyway to start off with, just to make sure you understand what you're going. Because I did make the mistake the first time round. I did it on my with this, which is why I'm emphasising make sure that you've got it the right way round. So these ones here, now the point needs to be on the inside. So on the first one, the point was on the outside. Next one needs to be, we need to mark the points on the middle part. So I need to mark this at 1 3/8. On that part and that part right there. So let's do this one first. One and 3/8. So I know it's going to be there, but I find it easier just to turn it round and hold on to it. There. You can see then they've just lined up exactly the same there. And the same as what we did with the first one, we are going to cut from the pencil mark to the corner. Like so. And then pencil mark or corner to corner now. Like that. And the same with this one. Pencil to corner. pencil to corner again. Oh, that one just slipped. So again, okay, make sure you pay attention that things don't slip on that one, because it's just going to cut it a little bit too soon. So, but they will, which is why luckily I've already gone and pre-cut those ones. They will then go in that one right there and that one right there. Now, even though I had cut it a little bit too short, I don't think you're going to make too much of a difference. So it's not going to make too much of a problem. So I wouldn't worry about it too much down there, but just be aware, make sure it doesn't slip in your trimmer. So we've got that one, but I've got these pre-cut. So we've got one there and one over there, like that. Just going to grab a ruler, sorry, a rubber for a moment, because this is a lighter piece of paper. I'm just going to get rid of my pencil marks. And let's stick these down. Anyone saying anything, Jay?
Paul said this would be a good card to make patterns out of copy paper before cutting the SP.
Yes.
So you always have it.
Yes, definitely.
Like, especially if you have a folder of fun folds.
Have a template folder for it, definitely.
Lisa's favorite out of the pack 2. I'm guessing that's what you're using. Judy said this card's going to be very pretty. Darla loves the paper too. And
Yeah, it is stunning paper. So I have done this fold before, so if you were to look back on previous fun folds, you will. I'm pretty sure this fold is there. It's a smaller version, but it hasn't got this stand on the back, which Danielle's one, which she gave me, was it's just wow. So that's that part done. We're going to bring our frog back in now. Okay. We're going to pop a little bit of glue on one of these tabs. Again, less is more. I'm just going to go around, just try and spread it round rather than squeezing more glue out. And then we're going to then just go kind of central and position that so that it's kind of the score line is up against that score line here. And then just gently, because it's still not completely grabbed yet, so a little bit of glue on that side there, and then we can then just do that. Okay, and then we can kind of just fold it over whilst it's still setting up, so it can naturally just go in. And that there has given us a little bit of a bridge to attach a topper onto. Okay, so that's that part. Decoration on the inside, what you can do is you can pop some basic white on either of these ones. It's exactly the same, so it'll be a 4.5 by 4.5 like you've done for these ones here. Cut in half, and then you can stick that. If you want to do designer series paper on the inside, it's just basically you're going to mimic the outside right here and to pop it on the inside. But on the card I received for my birthday, it's just a bit of designer, some basic white is going on this part here. Remember, it's just a 4.5 by 4.5. So that there is the fun fold part. So now Jay is then going to then finish this next part up. If you had a corner punch, then I would recommend you might want to just, I haven't got one to hand, but we do have one around somewhere. You may just want to maybe punch some corners off of this at the back here on what little bit which goes in, because it may just stop it from just getting untidy as you're popping it through. Jay's going to see if he can probably find it. You kind of...
No, because I don't know where you put it. Probably here.
Yeah.
You like using that?
I do like using my corner punch. Yeah, that'll do. So again, this is a retire punch, but it's one of those ones which I will never get rid of because it comes in handy. And I think a corner punch should be a staple in everybody's craft room, really. And that there makes that just a little bit easier to go through because you haven't got the corners to worry about. You can obviously move that around accordingly. That there.
Do you want to add the
Sits
gem
up like
now?
that. Yeah, you can add the gem if you want to.
Oh, I'll do it when I.
Yeah, you can do it when you think so. It still keeps it flat. And there we have it. So Jay's now just going to finish that off with the lovely topper. Just realised just doing that without all of that light on. Hopefully it wasn't too dark for you. Right, enjoy.
No one said, so hopefully. Right. Amazing. Hopefully you've got something similar if you're watching and crafting. You could always come back and watch the replay, pause, rewind, fast forward if needed. So just take that out. So yeah, so Baristan, the fun fold, I'm just gonna do the decoration. So from the bundle, that stamps. You have got the stamps and the dies, so it does all match. And you have this capsule. I don't know what that shape is. Oval. For the topper, which you can. It is big, and it will hide most of this DSP, but you can do smaller circles if you prefer. But seeing as we're using the paper, I thought we'll use the bundle as well. So I'm just gonna quickly do some stamping. So with the big flowers and the small flower, so it is 2-step stamping. You have the outline and then the filler, and I'm just using the colors that's in the paper as well, adding a bit more what's it called, darker ones afterwards. So Berry Burst and Fresh Freesia for the big flower. So Berry Burst, Fresh Freesia, just check that it matches because I can't put my head over. And you do have the center part, so I'm gonna bring in Blackberry Bliss, which is a darker purple, I guess. If you miss a bit, just stamp again. It doesn't matter too much. And then for the small flower, we have Misty Moonlight and Pool Party. So for the small flower, I'm doing, oh, see, I've done that wrong. Outline first. Misty Moonlight for the outline. Just wipe that off. You could always do like a second generation, so you don't have to use 2 colors if you don't want to. I've just re-inked this Pool Party, so it's quite dark. And then for the inside, I'm using Night of Navy. That was... So the dies, what we love about this bundle is you can create the same flowers different ways. So you have the outline, so you can just cut out the outline. You can add the, what's wrong with it? the texture inside, so you can do that as well. I tend to just add a bit of removable tape so you can still see the outline, and then cut that through, tape that down. You have all the 3 flowers for those, or if you don't want to do the stamping, you can just die cut the flowers. You have the leafings. I've also die cut these 2 ovals. So one is got a dotted outline, so it cuts the outside and the inner line, so you do get 2 sides. Where's my ovals? Buried there. So for the outline of here, I'm using the solid line, and then for the decoration, I've used the same paper as Barry, the fresh version one. I've used the dotted one because the inner cut is slightly smaller. So that's done. I've gone ahead and die cut that, which is here. And I also die cut, I got too lazy, so I didn't stamp the leaves. So I just die cut them. It has the texture already in old olive, right? So I'm just gonna quickly stick these down. I haven't stamped the sentiment. So I did put in the live chat the link to our floral impressions online craft retreat that we did last month. Was it in June? Yes, it was in June. So replay is available for booking. We did 9 cards, 2 cards each, and then 1 bonus for Barry, myself, and Sarah at Kiss Creative. What did Barry do? He did a box. Myself and Sarah did fun fold, I believe. I'll show you my fun fold afterwards. So I'm just gonna stick that down. You could always use the spreader. I always forget about the spreader. So if you have gone blobby, or if you want to get it right to the edge, just turn your Tombow around and you can spread it out. It makes it thinner as well, so hopefully it'll dry faster. Yes, that's right. Let's check. Yeah. Just make sure you close one side. And I'm just gonna add these after I stamp my sentiment. So the sentiment, I appreciate you. So thanks so very much for being here. So you could have thanks for being here. Thanks so very much. Yes, I appreciate you too, Long. It's not. I'll just do that in white. Of course, I'm sure you have plenty of sentiments that you can use. What do I need? Block. So use what fits. Let's go Knight of Navy. off. Nothing to... Oh, shall I just do it at an angle? Yeah, why not? If you really want to be the same, you can use it as a guide, the offcut. So then the direction or the angle, shall I say, is the same. But if you're not too fast, just cut it. So I'm just gonna have that there. You can trim it off, but I'll just add these on dimensionals. Where's the big ones? Just need one. And then just add. Do I need the full one? Cut it up. And then insert these. Underneath. So we are nearly done, he says. Do I want more leafings? You could always use those underneath. I've just die cut some more. And the two leaves, the two smaller leaves are like, they curve differently, so you could do the mirror ring easier. That moved. Where else? Why not? Is there a, whatchamacallit? Embellishment that goes with it? I can't remember. Can you, Barry? Inside, outside. Or you can fussy cut it. I'm just gonna do it inside.
Here's the strawberry slush. I can't say. Strawberry slush.
Is it catching? Is it?
In pink gems.
Okay, I'll use that.
Does anyone else struggle with strawberry slush?
Strawberry slush. That one, yes. Ah. Or if you have fresh freesia, bearer burst, pool party, I think any colors will, well, most colors. So just do, let's do that one, strawberry. Strawberry, you could do 3 on the top. Oh, let's do that. Shall I just try and curve it?
Yeah. Loving this card.
I think that's the
See,
same.
I love making the fun folds and working that out, and I like Jay to design it because
And you want the gem here.
gem that one.
You
there,
can
just,
either use the same one or
just something just
a
to kind of
rhinestone.
stop that that little band from falling off or making it a little bit harder to fall off.
Or even like a die cut of the circle. You have a circle here
Yeah,
and
or
add a dimensional on it.
A dimensional on it.
But I'll just do that one. So it
Kind of
doesn't...
just gives it a little bit of the butter on there.
There we go. Wibbly wobbly. Ribbit ribbit.
So you know what? See, even that way round as a card looks quite interesting as
It
well.
does. It's coming at ya.
But having that band on the back makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does.
To making this card work better, because previously it just flops.
So just as a quick thing, another fun fold, or the fun fold that I made for the retreat is this one. So I actually mirrored the those leavings, used the, what's that called again? The dies, which was in the last chance. It might still be, so get them discounted if it's still available on our online shop. Can you remember what's that called? No. Wanted to say?
Yes, it is.
Die cut, so it's got different sayings on it. And this one's got a PDF and the video from the online craft retreat.
Lovely. That's what you made for the craft retreat,
Yes.
isn't it? Should I show my box as
Yes.
well? So this was my using the same stuff with my box, which I made using the same papers for so part of the retreat. So you get all of the instruction, the video of me making it. It's got a belly band, which I don't normally like belly bands, but on this particular one it has a purpose and it can be displayed with it, and it is designed so it can hold like a little box of tissues, or some chocolates can go in there. You can pop some tissues and some chocolates on there as like a little care package or a little thank yous kind of way. But it's a really nice little simple like box,
Flip
top box. Belly band does go on like that, and the reason I like the belly band is it can then be displayed like that, and then you can see all of that lovely work which you've gone and done on the belly band rather than going like that and it getting put to one side and not doing anything. So that was what I also made. So yes, if you want to go back and have a little look at the replay of the retreat, then you can do. I think Jay did put the link up earlier on. So there we have it. That was one of the ones which I made, but there is one more each from me and Jay, plus a bonus project and 3 cards from Sarah.
Yes.
So using the same thing. But that's our one for today. I just love what you've gone and done with that topper on that one there. Really nice. And again, the whole thing folds.
Also, you can use the party alphabet dice if you know you're going to give it to a specific person. You can put their initial, their first name.
Yeah.
Or the first letter.
So just folding flat as well. So you'll need to obviously find a card, an envelope which kind of works with it.
With a square.
So you'd need to go with a square card really, pretty much, which is going to be like a 5.5 by 6 by 6.
Yeah.
You're going to need an envelope, 6 by 6 envelope for a square card. So there we have it. So even those bands at the back there, even if they're not attached, just gives it some stability as well. Yeah.
Amazing, well done.
Love it. I'm really happy with how that came out, considering that's only the first time we've made a completed one.
Yes.
So, because all of the others have been prototypes and just
an hour before the live.
Yeah, an hour before the live. So I only learned how to make this 2 hours ago.
Well done, Barry. Anyway,
so we have it. Let me just show the one which this is the. So this was the one which it was inspired by. So this is my birthday card which we received from Danielle. So thank you very much. Using, I can't remember what this was called, but it was just a set from a few years ago with the ice cream set. Really, really pretty, and that's what I mean by the designer series paper. The paper on the inside, so you can write on. There we have it.
Oh, I was trying to think of the name, but I can't.
Ice cream sundae. I don't know what it was called. Bring that home over.
Ice Cream Friday.
There we have it. So, glare. I don't know. It's coming from
Cool.
over there.
So thank you so much for joining us on YouTube or Facebook. Yes, do remember you can purchase Stampin Up products from our online shop if you live in the UK, France, Germany, Austria, Netherlands, Belgium, or Ireland.
Lovely. So, thank you for watching. We will see you again probably Wednesday of next week. But until then, enjoy the rest of your day. Happy 4th of July to everyone who's celebrating that today. And we will see you again very soon.
Have a great weekend.
Take care for now.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.